So this is Tanya Bridge Malone back with another YouTube video. Obviously you can see my shirt, my pants, and this is my fit for the day. It is warm out here today, but it's a little chilly. We're going to have a conversation. This conversation is for mature adults only. It's not for people to get on my comment section talking about sex, talking about, it ain't for people to get on here talking about stuff and doing, we're not talking, we're going to talk a serious conversation, okay? So when I talk about purpose partners, right? I talk about people who are in search of their purpose partner, but God will bring that person to you in the right time. In my personal opinion, I think that even if you're not in the dating field, God will guide that right person into your path. Because a lot of times when you're not looking, you'll find the right one. That's the way I believe. That's my perspective on it. Some people think that you have to be online dating and all this stuff, but I don't really like online dating. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I've done it in my earlier years. It's not a big thing for me because, to me, I didn't have much anything happening on online dating. Because to me, a lot of times, there's a lot of men and women on there just looking for a piece of butt. You know what I mean? That's all they're looking for. Because a lot of times, that's what I found in my earlier years. So I don't date online. I'm not saying I would never be for it, but I'm just telling you, yeah, there's a lot of people online, but there could be 100 people you meet today, and 99 of those people are not for you. And what I want to talk about is what questions you need to ask. If you're actually in the dating field, or if you're just in your healing season, this is things that you could think of, different questions to ask whoever you're dating to see, to determine whether that person is for you for marriage. First of all, we ain't talking about people who's just looking for somebody with friends with benefits. We're not talking about people who just want to date somebody for years and never seek marriage. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the audience of the ones who are seeking marriage. So if you are dating somebody or you come across somebody and say you go out with them, okay, how long are you going to wait to ask these serious questions? Because it don't take 2 or 3 years or a year for somebody to decide whether they want to marry somebody or not. Time is not the deciding factor of who is best for you. What determines that is you asking the serious questions. You come off with somebody, I don't care if it's a second date, I'll be like, hey, are you seeking marriage ever? Do you ever see yourself being married if you found the right person? Do you seek marriage, or are you only seeking to play around? Or you won't? There's a certain way to come about saying that, but that could be a question. Another question is, you need to make sure they're not a narcissist or a toxic person. Second of all, you need to make sure that people are not, you got to see if they have triggers. And there's nothing wrong with talking about people's past relationships, because if a person can't, if a person's been in a past relationship and you ask a question about it and they get all defensive and they say, oh, you shouldn't be asking about my past. No, your past does matter when it comes to picking the right partner, in the fact that if they cannot admit to any wrong they did in a relationship and they blame it all on the last person, that right there is showing you a red flag. Because they had things, they picked the wrong person, they did some wrong things, and they're not admitting that to you. So you just let them go, if that's the case. Because I can tell you right now, it ain't all one person's fault for every relationship. You picked that person. You need to own up and take accountability for that. So if you ask somebody about a past relationship and they're not willing to admit to any wrong they done, that's red flag number 1. You also need to know if they're a Christian. Are they truly saved, believing in spiritual gifts? That's another question. What's their purpose? Do they know their purpose in life? Another question to ask is, how often do you desire to have sex? What do you expect in the bedroom? What do you expect? Can you not have an adult conversation without having sex with somebody? Because there's a lot of men out here that you can't even carry on a conversation about sex. No, it's called a healthy conversation. How many times do you expect to have sex a day, a week, a month? How long do you expect? What's your sex drive? Do you expect to have sex 3 or 4 times a day? Is it once a week? These are serious conversations that a lot of people won't have with people. They think they just go to bed with people before they ever get to know them, and then they're stuck with somebody being an unhealthy attachment because they went and slept with a man, or a man slept with a woman just to try to keep them. And you're not going to keep a man or a woman by sleeping with them that early on. You're not. They're not going to have respect for you. So, first of all. Second of all, they're liable to never call you again. So before you just go laying down with somebody just to get your rocks off, first of all, you need to take a look at yourself. Because that's not going to help you keep that person. No man or woman, no matter what you do, can keep them if they don't want to be kept. Let's get that straight across. So what you need to ask them is, what do they desire in the bedroom sexually wise? You don't have to have sex with them to carry on a conversation, an adult conversation. If you cannot have an adult conversation, then you don't even need to be dating. Because some people may expect it 3 or 4 times a day. Honey, that ain't me. I can tell you that right now. And I'm not having sex no more until I get married. But I can tell you right now that keeping a man cannot be kept if they don't want to be kept, or even a woman. So you need to have those serious conversations. You know, what do they desire in the bedroom? How many times do they desire to have sex? When they get married, you'd ask them, well, if we got, you know, if you were married, how many times do you desire to have sex a day or a week or a month? Whatever it is, because everybody's different. Not everybody's going to have sex. And here's what I found out. I've dated a lot of people in my past. And these people, you know, some of them, they wanted sex more than what I was willing to give, because I wasn't, you know, there's some people out here, this is something else I need to explain, and I'm just talking about this in a healthy way. But what I'm saying is, there's people who want sex 3 or 4 times a day, every day. There's some people who want sex 3 times a week. Maybe somebody ain't willing to do that because their health condition may not allow them to do that. We know, and we're going to have a serious conversation. This is a raw conversation. We're going to have it. I don't care if y'all want to hear it or not. We're going to have the conversation. There are men out there that cannot get it up. It's simple as that. And then these will be the same men. I've had this happen to me. I'm not saying all men, but the ones I've experienced expect you to have sex 3 or 4 times a day, every day. And they can't even get it up. They got to take a pill to get it up, because either they drank or they didn't take care of their health or whatever. But let's think about it. Sometimes people's health concerns, sometimes their health makes them to where they can't, where their sex drive is not as big. When women get older, their sex drive goes down. I don't care what anybody says, mine does. I'm on medication. So that means that I don't desire to have sex every day. And another thing is, if you're in a relationship or you're married to somebody and you're not treating that person and showing up for them in action that you love them, and all you're doing is talking about you love them, but you ain't showing them you love them, then if you're not coming into that bedroom to please that person and you're only wanting to get your rocks off, I can tell you right now, you ain't gonna keep them. You ain't gonna keep them. You ain't gonna keep them, because eventually they ain't gonna want to make love to you, because you ain't making love. You're just screwing. I'm telling you, I'm telling the freaking truth, and I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna speak my truth. Whether y'all like it or not, I'm gonna speak my truth and many other people's truth. And it is good to have a conversation. If you were dating somebody about sex, it's good to have a conversation. But if you can't be man enough to have a conversation, or woman enough to sit down and have a conversation, that doesn't mean it has to lead to sex. It's being open and honest about what you expect. Sex is a part of a marriage. It's not supposed to be a part of a relationship when you ain't married. So I'm not emphasizing you go out there and do that. I'm telling you to have a healthy conversation about whoever you're dating, so that you can get to know them before you just marry somebody and say they only want sex every 10 days, and you get in the marriage, you know, you want sex more, and you just think, oh, well, you know, you didn't have that conversation with that person before you married them. That's all I'm saying. But my thing is, I think that some people want sex too much. You know what I mean? And that person was never for me. I'm just telling you, I'm keeping myself celibate from here on out till I get married. If that ever even happens. If it does, it does. If it don't, it don't. I don't worry about it. I love myself. But what I'm telling you all is, I'm trying to give you all advice on questions. You need to have conversations with these people early on. Well, peace, love, and tell me what y'all think in the comment section. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just telling you that these are conversations you need to have with whoever you're dating. I'm not telling you to go out here and have sex before marriage. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you to have an adult conversation about the serious questions you need to ask whoever you're seeing, so that you don't waste years of your life, and so that you don't marry somebody who's not for you. Peace, love, and y'all be blessed.